Alrighty, we are back with another video, and I know what you're thinking. 2 Critical Role videos in a row? What are you doing? I'm watching Critical Role, and this last episode I just finished, and there was a lot of stuff in there I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'll let you know right now, spoiler alert, I am going to be taking a little bit of a deep dive into episode 4 of Critical Role's Campaign 3 and kind of pulling out some of the gems that Matt Mercer left for us for, DMs. Alright, let's get into it. So the situation that we're in is Travis's character just got killed at the end of the previous session. There are a few things with this. One, it was very clear that Travis's character was a temporary character, and I actually really like temporary characters. They used Travis's character to help pull the party together and then give them a reason to stay together. Their bond is now a little more solidified, and investigating his death has brought them together. They also used it to kind of put a little fear into the players. Travis's character got killed in an alley by himself. Now the players are going to want to stay together. None of them are going to want to travel out by themselves, especially into an alley at night. And they're in the story. Like Matt Mercer has pulled them into the campaign story, and they are in it. They potentially don't have the option of leaving. The dwarf that killed Travis's character may go and kill their characters if they try abandoning the party, and they're like, I don't want any part of this. So they're in it. It's a great use of Travis's character, and temporary characters can be really fun. I encourage, if any of your players come to you as a dungeon master and they say, hey, I want to play this character, but I don't think it'll be great in the long run, let them do it with the intention of killing that character. It's totally fine. You have my stamp of approval. Episode 4 starts off with them investigating what happened to Travis's character. One of the other characters has a dream that something might be going on with Travis's character, or potentially he's been hurt. So they get up in the middle of the night to go investigate, make sure that he's okay, or see what happened. The first thing they need to do is actually see if they can find Travis's character, Bertrand. Something like that. Matt Mercer does a really good job of throwing little obstacles in their way, but still pushing the story forward and making sure that they don't get bogged down with any one of these obstacles. And that's, for the first half of it, that is the main point that I want to show how he does this. And so the first thing we'll take a look at is they needed to find him, and they didn't know what room Travis's character was in. So they get to the front desk and they ask for his room number. They fail a persuasion check, and so the people at the front desk say, sorry, we can't give that kind of information out. We need to, protect our clients. So then the 2 characters head upstairs and just start shouting. They're just going to see if they can shout, wake him up, and find him that way. So the people at the front desk then ask them to stop shouting, and they kind of give a quick little rebuttal of, well, if you told us what room he was in, we wouldn't have to shout. Now, what Matt Mercer did not do here was make this a big obstacle or slow the story down. He didn't have the people call the guards or try to kick them out, anything like that. He just said, whatever, good luck, you'll have to deal with the people that you wake up. And then those people head back down to the front desk and leave them alone to continue waking everyone up. I bring this up, again, because Matt Mercer is giving little obstacles for them to overcome so they feel like they're doing things and they're accomplishing things, but he is not putting anything too big in their way because he wants the story to keep moving. The characters then just start pounding on random doors until they find the rest of the party and Travis's character's room, which is locked. They roll to try to pick the lock, and they fail. So then Liam's character, Orm, decides to go get his sword and just cut the latch off the door to open it that way. I'm about to show you a clip of how Matt handles this. Watch this clip and see if you can guess what I'm going to say that I really like about this and how Matt handles it. So, here's the clip.
While they're all arguing, Orm pats back into his room and comes out with his blade. And,
Did you see?
Get out of the way.
Did
Please.
you see which direction he walked away in?
I'm striking the latch off of his door.
Go ahead and roll an attack.
It's a 19 plus 25.
Go ahead and roll damage.
This is what we should have been doing with doors this whole time.
Just slashing them.
9.
Hmm.
Who needs a roll?
It takes you 2 hits in succession, but very quick succession, and the knob just falls and hits the ground, and the door opens up in front of you.
As you saw, he swung with his sword, rolled high enough to hit. Matt Mercer told him to roll for damage, and he rolled a 10. It was not high enough to break the doorknob or the latch open, and Matt Mercer did not make him roll again. There's no point in making him roll when, at this point, he's inevitably going to get it open. Let him just have this so you can move on. Now, Matt Mercer could have easily just said he got it with the first strike, but he stayed true to how many hit points the door or the latch had. And what I really like about that little decision to not just move it on, but to throw in there, you had to hit it twice, is in the future, if they're running from someone and Liam tries to slash the door open just to get in there, he now knows that 10 damage isn't enough to break it. And so there's not going to be anything weird in the future with that. But he still helped it move forward and not waste time having him roll for multiple attacks. So I really like that. And he does this with other things too. Another one being the long rest. As I said, they woke up in the middle of the night to investigate. After they did a little bit of investigating, they then asked, did we get our long rest? Do we have to restart it from the beginning and do a full 8 hours? And Matt was like, no, in this instance, just finish out your long rest, sleep till morning, and we'll call it good. But he made it clear that he's only doing it in this instance. This isn't a rule that they can abuse and do half of their long rest at the beginning, go adventure, and then do the other half. He kept the story moving, but he made sure that they knew that these weren't rules that could be abused in the future or anything. Not that I think that the cast of Critical Roles would do that, but it's a good note for you and your players, because at least mine almost certainly would abuse things like that if given the opportunity. So it prevents it from being an awkward situation in the future when you go, no, it worked only that one time. He's letting them know up front. It's working now, not something you can abuse in the future. The next is, and again, when it comes to investigating, it's really important to keep the story moving forward. You don't want it to get bogged down, because investigations can, if your plan for investigating isn't working and you're not getting information, you can feel lost very quickly. So Dorian, Robbie's character, ends up going into, I believe it was a tavern, and they did a little bit of investigating. They figured out the name of the person they believe killed Travis's character, and he just walks into a tavern and he's like, ugh, that guy screwed me over again, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he mentioned the person's name and then looked to see if anyone reacted. Did Matt Mercer expect this to be how they got more information on this individual and figured out where to go? No, absolutely not. I'm guessing anyway. I shouldn't say absolutely, but probably not. But Matt Mercer, again, was ready, and when this happened, you just have him roll a persuasion check. If it's high enough, I use, in instances like this, I would use the persuasion check not just to see if he notices someone, but also to determine if there even is someone in the room that has the information. You roll high enough, yep, there's a person over there and you noticed it. So there is a person in there that Robbie notices, so then he goes over and starts asking this person for information. Again, this is where a list of just random NPC names will come and save you, because people will always ask for their name even though they don't really care, and you'll probably never see them again. It's just something players do. Have those names ready, and then, give them whatever information you can to help the story move forward. They then head to Lord Estros, and then they kind of get on a more set path. Because after that, they decide to go check out an area, and I don't remember exactly where they were checking out, but it was somewhere near where Ashton was staying, and so he had a little bit more information on things. Something that I have to point out for this that Matt did that is great, and I love when DMs do, he clearly talked with Talliesin about his character's backstory, because there are a couple names that got dropped that Talliesin knew who they were. So there were two different people that he essentially had to choose between going. One of them, he's like, no, let's not go talk to him. Then another person, and it was like, yeah, I guess we can talk to him. When they went to go talk to that person, then Talliesin kind of knew what to expect from this person. And at the end of it, which I love because it's also a little bit of foreshadowing, Talliesin says, yeah, there's an 80% chance that this information's good and not going to screw us over. I say foreshadowing because it presumably was bad information and led them to an ambush. Now, I say that because I want you to know where they end up as I talk about this instance. So I'm actually going to show you a clip from the very end. Is Matt Mercer drops a little hint that, yeah, your guys' decisions here led to you getting ambushed. So here's that clip.
I fucked her.
He sent us up to Greg.
Are we in the Court of Owls right now?
This is very Court of Owls.
No.
The low persuasion check plus the mind probing.
Did not go well.
That could have gone one of multiple ways, and that put him in a
Well, I
nope.
didn't probe his mind.
Well, you know what I mean.
So how did he...
Go, 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 go.
I only did that after he already gave us the information.
It's me.
Now, I have some theories and opinions on what's happening here, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. As far as this instinct goes, Matt brought up a poor persuasion roll, but that wasn't the only thing that went bad for them. There were a couple things. Yes, there was the poor persuasion roll that potentially led to them getting bad information that led them into a supposed ambush, but things were going poor from before that. Fern stole one of the cakes and then traded him a flower for it, which could have also led to that because it may have taken some of his power away where he felt a little bit more insecure because she could have just taken his stuff. Another thing that happened was that Liam's character, Orm, had mentioned, he had asked for a pie, and then Matt got all offended and was like, pies are terrible. And then Liam's character then said, pies are better than cake. That could have also been another factor that led to him being upset and wanting to send them to an ambush. Another thing is that Talliesin's character had bribed him with 5 gold. The reason that this could be a factor is earlier that day, Ashton, Talliesin's character, had bribed someone else with initially 10 gold, but then ended up doubling it to 20 gold for information. So if that's more the range that Talliesin's character is willing to pay for information, that might have appeared to be a slight to, the Shadow Baker, I believe is what he went by. So they get the information of where to go, and it ends up leading them into presumably an ambush. I say presumably because they haven't been attacked. And it could be like a Fight Club situation. I'll show the clip of when they get in there and a new character is introduced. And there is a lot that I want to talk about here because this new character, I think, could be Travis's character. I say this because there's a lot of other people also saying it, and Matt Mercer doesn't just give a very descriptive description. Matt doesn't just go into a lot of detail on what this character looks like, but he also reads it off of a paper, which could be something that Travis wrote out, like Travis's description of his character. And he also used a deeper voice that could easily be done by Travis because, Travis has a deeper voice. And so let's watch this clip and, give me your thoughts.
You watch as one person strides forward from the group, setting his lantern along the ground and gingerly twirling a scimitar in his hand. You see what looks to be a tall man of smooth sepia-brown skin and striking light brown eyes and a tangled mop of dark roguish hair, wearing a forest green leather chest plate and braces over a sleeveless Kurdish shirt of a very, very kind of light beige color. Leans forward, Marquesian, towards those who can understand it, scimitar at the ready, pointed towards you. This, friends, is certainly not your luckiest of days. And that's where we're going to go ahead.
So as I said, I think that this might be Travis's new character. Let me know in the comments if you think that this is Travis's new character or if we're all just wrong. I say we're all because there's a lot of other people on Reddit and whatnot that are also speculating that this could be Travis's character. If you don't think that it's Travis's character, again, let me know. Make your predictions on what class you think he's playing. But I think that this individual is kind of a swashbuckler character, which I'm excited for Travis to play if this is his character. Another thing that I think would be kind of cool is he's using a scimitar, which is a finesse weapon, similar to the Gambler's Blade that Travis's previous character was using. And I think that is a super cool weapon, and I think it would be cool for Travis's new character to kind of pick up his old character's weapon. So potentially that happens. I think it would be awesome. But there are some things to talk about in this situation. First off, Travis wasn't at the table all night long. Now, if you're running a similar situation at your table and somebody has a temporary character and you kill them off, please do it at the end of the session and then try to introduce them early on in the next session. Or if that player can't make it, you can do something very similar to what Matt did. They miss that entire session and you draw the party to where you're going to meet that new character at, or their new future companion. Not that I'm saying that they did that because Travis couldn't make it. I'm pretty sure that he was there watching, especially because he had messaged his inventory to Ashley Fern. But it could be a good way to do it for your table if there's some scheduling conflict or someone just wants to take the week off. Guide the party to their character. Now, I bring this up because I do believe Matt Mercer was trying to guide the party to this point. This is clearly where he wanted to end this session. I think this is also why he was trying to quickly drive the session to get to this point and help the investigation go as quickly as possible. If you're doing something like this, there's a couple methods that you can use to get your players to a specific spot that you want them at. One is all signs point to the same place. What this means is, when they're talking to Lord Estros and he gives them 2 different places they can go to start their investigation, both of them, it doesn't matter, they both end up in the same spot. Ashton kind of picked between 2 different people that he could go talk to. It probably didn't matter. If you're using this method, it doesn't matter which one he goes to talk to, they're both going to send them there. Then Matt had alluded that their decisions were what led them to an ambush, but if this is what he was doing, it really didn't matter. They were going to end up here regardless. Now, I'm not saying that this is what Matt did. Not at all. I'm saying it's a technique that you can use if you are trying to accomplish a similar outcome. But it is possible that Matt did do this, and the characters are afraid that they just walked into a trap, and so Matt was just instilling a little bit of fear to help back that up. Because he also mentioned that the mind probing was another effect that led to this, which there was no mind probing by Imogen. It might have just been him playing along with them and kind of, I guess, scaring the players. Sometimes it's fun to do as a DM. They think that they walked into a trap, and you're like, yeah, well, your guys' decisions really got you into that trap. And in reality, they're about to meet Travis's character, and they might not even be fighting. There probably will. I'm going to be surprised if there's not any fighting, but maybe not. It might not be an ambush. They might be exactly where they want to be. Another way to do it, if you're trying to guide them to a character to meet, is that character pops up at any of the different locations. If they played that encounter with the Shadow Baker better, or if Ashton went and talked to somebody else, whatever the situation, the different decisions they make take them to different locations, and wherever they end up, that character just happens to be there. That's another way that you can do it. That way does take more work, though, because you have to prep multiple locations and avenues. The easiest way is all signs point to the same place, because then you just have to prepare one path. So, as I said, I'll be curious to see what happens next week. If that is Travis's next character, if there is a fight, if they were led astray based on the decisions they made, or if that was kind of more just Matt messing with them, we'll have to wait and see. If you have predictions, please let me know. Put them below. I love reading people's predictions. And I know what you're thinking, and you're probably watching this after the episode came out, and you're thinking, well, my predictions aren't very good anymore. They don't seem impressive because it's already happened. They're not really a prediction. But I did predict it, and I could have commented it there if I watched it before Critical Role came out. And then he would have seen the comments and been like, man, that person's super smart. They predicted it excellent. And you are correct. If you predict it before Critical Role comes out, I would have read that and been like, man, this person's really smart. They were on top of it. But, you missed the opportunity. But what if there was a way to make sure that you didn't miss any more opportunities like that? If you can find the subscribe button, you hit that subscribe button, slap that bell notification, you won't have to worry about that anymore. As soon as a video comes out, you'll get to watch it. No more missed opportunities. You ever have predictions, you can be the first one to give them. Well, that's all I had. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time.